emailed a few of you in the last 2 weeks when we originally launched, so I want to send you a very warm welcome. We were going to take time to allow everybody to introduce themselves originally when I thought maybe 5 people would show up, but we actually had almost 70. So that would kind of crunch into our time allotment of an hour. So we're not doing that today, but I'm really glad you put your name in the chat. We know who you are, where you're from, and again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for coming. This tells me we need this community. This tells me that we are so desperate for people who are like-minded, who are educating young people, families and communities about comprehensive sex ed, that we really need programming like this. We need communities like this. So thank you for coming. We're going to go ahead and introduce each of ourselves. Many of you know I'm Kim Cook. I was a former elementary school nurse. When I was at the ripe old age of 45, decided to go back to school and became a middle and high school health teacher and earned my CHES certification. While I was in the classroom, I understood that the real problem wasn't so much what we were teaching the kids, so that is a real problem, but it was the parents. And I thought, okay, I need to back up and talk to the parents. So I started Teen World Confidential. And out of Teen World Confidential came International Sex Ed Day, which is coming up February 2nd, which is a day in which I encourage all adults to spend just 10 minutes talking to their young person about some sexual topic, just to get the conversation going. So those are my little gigs on the side before the Alliance. So what happened was, and I know every single one of you can relate to this, I'm sitting at the computer after a couple of years going, oh my gosh, I'm doing this research, I'm doing all this work. I cannot be the only one doing this. Where are the other people? And shouldn't we all get together and help one another? So I kind of played around with that idea for a while. And then in April of 19, I was at a conference in New Jersey and I'm like, oh my God, Amy Lang and Melissa Carnegie are here. They don't know me, but I know them. So I approached each of them separately and said, hey, I don't know you, but here's this idea I have. What do you think? And they were like, oh my God, yes. So the rest is history. We gathered together virtually and by email and phone, whatever. And here we are. 2 weeks ago, we launched the Sex Education Alliance and we're so excited to be here. So Melissa, you take it away.
Thank you so much. My name is Melissa Carnegie. My pronouns are she or they, and I am a sexuality educator like many of you, and my focus is on serving youth and families and parents in particular through Sex Positive Families. So I founded Sex Positive Families in 2017 after a career of a little over a decade in the field of sexual health, particularly in HIV and sexually transmitted infections. In transitioning to sex ed is when I had the great opportunity to work with organizations like Engender Health, where I implemented a comprehensive sex ed curriculum in Texas. I'm located in Austin, Texas. And so I got the chance to teach middle and high school age students a comprehensive pleasure positive sex ed curriculum. And all while I was building my business of Sex Positive Families. I'm sure many of you have the experience of trying to build a business while you're also working for other people as well. And so then it was last year that I was able to really go full time, and Sex Positive Families now has an amazing presence thanks to social media, and really reinforces families' desire for sex positive and education, comprehensive education, a lot of what we all provide in the different unique ways that we do. So I'm really honored to be here. I also am now a best-selling author of a book, so I've joined the author club with a lot of y'all. And so I'm excited to be a part of a group of people that understand what it's like to do the taboo and stigmatized and highly censored at times work that we do, but to be so passionately called toward it and to want to be in community around how we build businesses and brands in these spaces. So thank you. Pass it to Amy.
Hi, I'm Amy Lang, and my business is called Birds and Bees and Kids. And I was a sexuality educator for a really long time. It was my hobby. I totally loved it. I had a child. I thought I was going to be kick-ass at talking to him about sex. I was not. And I realized that I needed help. And as I was sorting out like how to talk to my own kid, I realized that other parents probably needed a little help with this. So I don't work with children at all. I help parents become their kids' go-to sex ed source. And I have two sides to my business. I also work with organizations that serve kids, and I do sexual abuse prevention trainings that's progressive and focused on sexual health and healthy sexual development rather than signs and symptoms. So I just kind of in reference to what Melissa said, when I started Birds and Bees and Kids in 2005, I wanted to call my business Sex Ed for Parents, and I couldn't because I couldn't. So here we are, really delighted to have an opportunity to connect with folks who I don't have to explain things to and don't freak out when I tell them what I do. So I'm so excited to be part of this and hope y'all want to join us. Steph.
Hello there. I am Steph Autieri. I feel like I look like an air traffic controller, but whatever, we'll look past that. So I'm a journalist who has been writing about sexuality for, I guess, 20 years now about. But 8 years ago, less than a month before I discovered I was pregnant with my daughter, I accepted a job with AASECT. And while I was there, I helped them relaunch their website, their newsletter. But more than anything, my time with them marked a shift in the focus of my work, which may or may not have had something to do with, my daughter. I became very interested in the state of sex education. I did some volunteer work with the Center for Sex Ed, and the journalism work I did turned more and more toward sex ed advocacy. So after my reported memoir came out in 2018, I was faced with the big question, what's next? What are you going to do now that you've accomplished all your goals? So I turned more fully to sex ed, and in September, I launched Gorilla Sex Ed, which is, an online resource for parents like me who are seeking out alternative sources of sex education for their kids because, maybe traditional school-based sex education has failed them in some way. And, I also provide information for those who want to advocate for better sex ed within their districts, but, don't know where to begin. So basically there, I want to uplift the work of other brilliant educators, but I'm not quite sure yet where it will grow from there. And I'm hoping to figure that out within a community like this one. So me aside, I just wanted to talk about why I am so excited for this group. When Kim first told me about the group she wanted to create, I was super duper excited. I immediately knew I wanted to be involved. Being at this turning point in my own career, I very much wanted to be a part of a community of people who are passionate about the same things that I am passionate about. I wanted to get to know other people who are working to shatter the silence that exists around sexuality. I wanted to connect with people who are devoted to helping parents ensure that their children grow up with a better understanding of sexuality and with a greater sense of body autonomy and confidence. I wanted to nerd out with, some of my sex ed superheroes. So I've come to this community with a beginner's mind so that I can hopefully learn from others. And I suspect it will be useful for all of us to come together with this beginner's mind so we could, all learn from each other. But I'll let Amy speak a little bit more to what this community might look like.
So actually, one of the things we're curious about is what brings you here today. You've heard a little bit from us, but we'd love to know what made you sign up to join us today. And so if you want to unmute yourself and talk a little bit about that, that would be great. If you feel more comfortable tossing it into the chat, that would be also super duper. So yeah, what brings you here? Is there one particular thing? So I'm just going to give you a moment if you want to unmute yourself and talk. And if you're on top of yourself, each other, you can just duke it out. And just introduce yourself, say your name and what you do, and then what brings you here.
I don't mind starting, Amy.
Great.
Hi, everyone. My name is Salima Noon, My pronouns are she and hers, and I am coming to you from Vancouver, Canada. For the past 20 or so years, I've been teaching sexual health and empowerment workshops in the school setting, like actually in person. I know it's totally old school now, but that's what I did. And that's what I still do and will do in the future. But when we were faced with the COVID complications in March, I realized that just in March, April, and May, I and my team of educators had to cancel workshops at over 100 schools that we were supposed to visit. And so I spent that first week and a days trying to figure out how I could make sure that kids and parents still have access to our workshops. And so I recorded my workshops, I put them all online, and that really opened up this whole new online world of sexual health education. And, you know, I was on social media before. It wasn't like it wasn't part of my work, but it really just has highlighted the opportunities not only to expand our reach, but also to connect and form community with other educators who I never even knew before.
Yeah, so what brings you here? If you could just like sum it up.
Community and connection.
Excellent.
And sharing of ideas and experiences and just all of those things that I haven't had really up until now. It's a pretty small field that we work in.
Yeah, excellent, cool, and great. Anybody else? What brings you here?
I can go next. Opportunity. My name is Rochelle Fraboda. I'm in Ohio. I'll be doing sex ed as my full-time gig for 29 years, effective next month. And so I've been up and down, inside and out. I've been fortunate, lucky, hardworking, and I have a lot of gratitude to being able to make a living at this. So when I say opportunity, I'm looking for opportunity for professional growth and development. I'm looking for opportunity to share what I do and see what avenues are open for what I do. And then thirdly, to connect and see what we can do. If you're truly building something new and exciting and my effort and energy can build with it, I welcome that opportunity.
Cool.
My name's Andrea Anderson,
Oh,
and I am.
Hang on, Andrea. Sorry, I can see what's happening. So we're gonna do Phoenix and then you, Andrea. Is that cool? Thanks. Go for it.
Sorry. I'm Phoenix Mandel, they, them pronouns. I've been interacting with some part of sexuality education since 2006. I am here because I've been really disappointed with the lack of sex positivity in a lot, and inclusivity in a lot of sexuality professional spaces. And I'm just looking for more collaboration, more resource sharing with people who have a social justice advocacy lens. Also really shocked at how many people are not political in their sex ed work and not doing advocacy. That's been very challenging for me personally, as someone who does come at it from that angle. I also focus with families on working with parents of LGBTQIA+ children and creating supportive environments for that.
Great, thank you. All right, Andrea, sorry, menopause.
That's okay, Amy. My name's Andrea. It's fine. I am excited to connect with other people doing this essential work. It's been, I'm currently an executive director of a nonprofit that is not focusing on this to pay the bills. And I'm longing for connection and to get back into the work. I've been doing this since a long time, 30+ years. Was part of the big Pink Beast for 22 years. That I got paid really well by Planned Parenthood to teach about sexuality education in a couple of different states in the country. And I would like to be able to find a way to get back into it. I've taught at universities across the globe and I miss it, and found that peace longing in me. And so been reaching out for the past probably 2 years to see how other people are being able to do it and pay their bills and make a go of it, and who's got the best programs out there. And I'm kind of tired of, Quad S and ASECT. And so I'm excited about this alliance. And so thanks.
Yay, thank you. So we're going to stop there because we got more to talk about. We want to respect your time. And by the way, I'm a little bossy and tasky, so that's my nature, but that's partially just about respecting time. So anyway, enough from me being bossy and tasky. I think we're handing it over to Kim, our magical founder.
And I am not bossy or tasky, which is why it took a year and a half to get this going, but here we are. Actually, everything you all said, you are in the right place. We have multiple reasons for being here, but community is probably one of the foundations, and we're going to talk about that. So it's a place to learn and grow, not just when it comes to sex ed, because we all have different specialties that we can learn from, but also to grow our businesses. And, we have a few members obviously already, and marketing is a big one, so we have people with these skill sets that are amazing. Of course, we want a community of people who are passionate about comprehensive sex education. That's really important to us, and we honor and respect whatever people choose for their careers, but in this space, we're very inclusive, comprehensive, and that's our focus here. So we're looking for people like that, sex positive, supportive professionals, and I guess I just all said that, an inclusive, safe space to share your vision of sex education, which is also very interesting because we do come from different lenses and we have different goals and ideas. We're not there yet, but ultimately where I would love to see the Alliance go, and just from hearing you, seeing who's on board, seeing where you're coming from, I think we can do this. I think we can have a place at the table down the road when it comes to policy and sex education. There are the big players out there like Planned Parenthood, and they're doing a wonderful work. But us as independents together with a robust community, I think we can kick some ass. So I think that's another piece that's really important to this. So kind of keep that on the back of your radar. That's going to take a couple of years. But what we're doing right now, the foundations for the Sex Education Alliance, as we got together and had our conversations, what matters? Well, partnership, and we're gonna delve into these, but partnership, learning, and community. Those are the three main tenets of our alliance. So when it comes to partnership, it goes many different ways. We're partnering with families. We already do that with our work. We already partner with some of the families and communities and schools and organizations to provide education according to individual program and family needs, because we know it's about them, not us. But we're also going to partner with one another to try and get more work done. And we're going to find individuals who can help further the mission. For example, I had somebody call me interested in information about, what was it? It was about somebody who identified as binary, and they were unfamiliar with the term. And I thought, oh man, I obviously I could explain and talk to her about that and all that, but I thought this would have been a perfect opportunity to say, hey, there's a person in the Alliance I think would be a really great fit for you, and network that way a little bit to help get our businesses and our word out there. So that's how we're going to partner together. And
in terms of the learning, so we will support and learn from one another while improving access to comprehensive sex education around the globe. So we all are bringing unique perspectives and skills to the table. And so not only is this an opportunity to bring in subject matter experts in other areas that can help us build our businesses or to help us build our competencies in the specific areas that we teach in, but we've got a lot of knowledge within each other, just even in the introductions that we were able to get through, right? And so this is going to be an opportunity to skill share and to learn from one another. And also through that, as we know, it creates opportunities for us to even practice, our teaching and presentation skills and all of that. So just know that this space is very much a space where learning is going to happen in many different ways, and we're excited to be able to bring that. And so one question we want to ask you all and open up in the chat is, what's one topic that you, in joining this alliance, that you're really excited to learn more about, or that that would be helpful for you? And you can think about that in terms of professional skills. You can think about that in terms of business skills, in terms of certain areas of education or in the work that you do. So if you can take a moment to think about that and then drop your thoughts in the chat. and then we'll pause. You can just keep them flowing and we'll keep moving with the presentation. But again, what is one topic at least that would be helpful for you to learn more about? I already see some marketing dropping in there, so don't be afraid to add, even if you have the same goals and desires or interests. So what we are here is a community. We can't do this alone, right? We know that in the work that we're doing, if we're doing it with youth and with families and with parents, we all need each other. That means that we need unique skills, we need each other's unique perspectives, backgrounds, identities, and experiences. This is not an alliance or an organization that is here to just quote a bunch of research articles or talk about a bunch of data, or to expect you to have certain letters behind your name before your lived experience or what you bring and the work that you do and the impact that you have is deemed valuable. And so this is very much a space where we are looking to celebrate our successes as we have them along the journey together and create that sense of community, and hopefully feel safe and brave enough to express the challenges that we might be facing in any element of our work, and feel that we can come as our full and whole and real selves and learn together. So I'll pass it to Amy. Oh, unmute yourself, Amy.
So I'm sorry. Our goal is to make waves together. And so here are some of the things that we're offering, and this will grow and change. So first of all, there will be a business listing. And so there's a place where businesses, parents, families can go and find who they need to help them with whatever they've got going on. There'll also be a membership listing. So you can go in and, like, if you need help with a specific topic, like for example, you need help with sexual behavior in a kid, I'm your gal, all kinds of folks to do that. So sorry. And so that's one of the main things to support our businesses. Go ahead. Our Seaside Chats will happen once a month, and our January one is already scheduled. So the intention of these is to do a deep dive into a particular topic, and then to share ideas and connect with each other, and really an opportunity to learn from each other in a really casual environment. Next, we will have a newsletter. And so the newsletter will also be a deep dive into a particular topic. And then we'll feature members who are making waves, and events will be posted there so you can keep up with what we're doing and get things scheduled ahead of time. And then we'll have a private Facebook page where we can really dig more deeply and really just support each other more. And this is probably where most of the action is going to happen. And so that is, really common now. And I know y'all know the benefit of having a private place to talk about this. So private Facebook page and virtual learning. So we will be hosting virtual classes on a variety of topics. We'll bring in experts outside of our universe, business folks, that kind of thing. And then also within our organization, we'll have, we'll be presenting. And those are going to be evergreen. So you can go find stuff and watch stuff later if you can't attend the live version. So those are our waves. We're going to make them.
Oh, that's my cue. So as a freelancer, I'm unmuted, right? Oh, good. As a freelancer, I feel like I've long existed in this world where it can feel like we're all competing against each other, or we're all rushing to do the thing first, or to write the thing first, or to create the thing first. But what I've found in the past couple decades is that because of our unique voices and backgrounds and identities and experiences, no one can do what we do in quite the same way as we do it. And I truly feel that when we work together, when we learn from each other, and when we share with each other and are generous with each other, and maybe even collaborate with each other, we're so much stronger. I feel like a giant cornball as I'm saying this, like it's like a lifetime moment. But I feel like we accomplish so much more. And I think that when we uplift the work of others and we share our knowledge with others and come to each other with that mindset that other people have something amazing to teach us, it helps to make our work more awesome. And with more of us working together, I think it also becomes possible to affect real change, perhaps someday on the local or the state or the federal levels. Again, I feel a bit like a Pollyanna when I say all this, but I truly, truly mean it. And I'm sorry for being corny. Back to you, Kim.
Well, you see how we work the SEA logo. I love corny. So you're going to see a lot of stuff that has to do with water. So just get used to it because it's fun. But let's get down to business. So this is a business still. You know, we have to run the website, and we have you all run businesses. You know what it costs to do this. So we're trying to keep it as low cost as possible. So we introduced the Alliance at $79 a year. I'm going to extend that through January 8th. So if you attended this thing and, you know, applied to become a member, you'll be in at $79. The first 10 people who apply will get this rate for a lifetime, but at the end of the week, I'm going to up it to $129. Some of you have already applied and are already members, I'm going to honor that lifetime rate. So you're fine there. What was I going to say? Okay, so you also get a free mug. The first 20 people to sign up will get a free mug. So there's that. That's really fun because that's going to be great for the Alliance. Yeah, so I was going to say something else about the membership. But anyway, think about it this way too. We're advertising for you, a lot of marketing. We're getting your name out there. And so it's well worth it. So there's that.
So I want to hop us back over to all the great things that are flowing in the chat and just kind of acknowledge a couple things and some commonalities that I'm seeing here. So definitely marketing is coming up as an interest for folks, developing a business plan. And yes, we'll have Q&A right after this. And what else? We have collaborations and just potentially co-facilitating, right? That's another really cool thing about this is that, again, you get a chance to meet some folks that you may not have been connected to before. You might have seen and been kind of looking at lovingly from far away and like, oh, now you actually have an opportunity to connect and find those commonalities and maybe create something amazing together that can impact the world. And so the networking, and so yeah, it looks like so many of us are on the same page about what this organization can do and what this community is able to provide. So whether you've been floundering on your own or floating comfortably along, this is the chance to swim with a school of independent sexuality professionals leading a sea change in sex ed for youth and families. And so we thank you so much for taking time out to be able to come here and learn a little bit more and be in community with us this very first of many Seaside Chat experiences to come. So we will go ahead and open the floor up to questions and discussion. So if you'd like to learn more about the organization, if there's something that you're really curious about, we are making really great timing just to like time monitor. So we've got a good 30 minutes left. So we'd love to hear what you think. Unmute.
I don't mute myself normally for this very obvious reason. I can't remember to unmute. Can we switch to gallery view so we just have some more like, look at everybody. Yay, 28 of you. 28 of you. Yay, hi, so much fun. Go ahead and wave at me and unmute yourself. So if you have a question, we can do that. Okay, hi Gina, I see you. So unmute yourself, duh. Tell us really quickly, just the name of your business and maybe a one-liner about what you do, if you have a name for your business, and then go for it.
I don't have a business yet. I'm employed at a nonprofit and a community college at this point. But I've been thinking about kind of launching my own thing for a while. And really my question, I'm just kind of curious about others' experiences with ASECT as an organization to support educators, positives and constructive critiques or criticisms. I'm just curious to hear others' experiences because that was mentioned earlier. And I'm curious also just to know from you all, like how you envision C being different as a support network for educators than something like an ASECT or a Quad S. That's my question. And I'm going to mute because I have background noise. So.
So let's do the ASECT question first, and then Kim, maybe you want to handle the C change difference. So feel free to unmute and talk about ASECT a little bit if you're part of it or know about it. Looks like Dr. Leah.
Oh, sorry. I don't know much about ASECT, but I was curious about what the other organizations were about. I'm just getting into the sex education space. I'm a child psychiatrist and was going to create some different kinds of education for both parents and for therapists and professionals to work with children around shame and sexuality. So I was more curious myself about the different organizations that do this kind of work and how I might, gain some to work with them and, get some credits for CME for other therapists or things like that might be of interest to people. So that's, I don't know much about it either. So.
Okay. Does anybody want to speak to that?
I can hop in. I'll hop in on that, but also I want to acknowledge Phoenix. Thank you for, and this is a really great example. So in talking about language and inclusivity in our spaces. So yes, not using preferred pronoun and saying, what pronouns do you use? And I want to use that as an example of just the reality that, again, no one in this space is like the guru or the ultimate grandmaster of sex education or of the work we do. I say that to mean that there are opportunities to constantly learn and constantly grow, and it takes people stepping up and saying, hey, and this is a space where you can absolutely do that. So Phoenix, thank you for stepping up and bringing that to light. And then I want to say, as far as the question regarding ASECT and Quad S and these other organizations, something that really makes C unique is that our focus is on professionals, independent sexuality educators who focus on working with youth and with families. The thing that can happen with a lot of these larger organizations is that it's a grab bag of lots of different specializations and lots of different certifications, and so here there is a weird niched down under the umbrella of sexuality education. Our focus is also in the sex positive realm and comprehensive realm of sexuality education, which is with some of these broader organizations, again, there could be more of a grab bag in terms of that people's understanding or their focus or even their collaborations or alliances with other large organizations. And another element that comes to mind for me too is just around like certification. So ASECT in particular is an organization that, does, they have different certifications for therapists and for sexuality educators. And I don't know if you've read all the fine print ever for anyone that might be ASECT certified in any of those areas or who have ever pursued looking of that up, but there are a lot of hoops. There are a lot of hoops and there's a lot of money that they want you to provide, right? So it ends up being it can end up being a little bit of an elitist, not a little bit, it can end up being an elitist thing. And that's absolutely not what we're here to do. And again, our focus is on independent educators who are looking to grow in their business skills and in their skills of their work. I hope that offers some insight.
Exactly. I'm going to piggyback on that a little bit. So I've never been a member of ASECT, but I was American School Health Association, SOFI. I was in that realm, health and education in that regard. And again, what's unique about this is we have nonprofits, we have physicians, we have therapists, we have educators, we have all kinds of people from all different walks of career life that are joining us that can offer a different kind of experience. And we are we're pretty focused on what we do, the family-centered, inclusive, sex ed, comprehensive. It's unique. There's nothing else out there like that. And that's what makes us very, very special. Now, somebody mentioned the CEs. We do not offer that. However, we do have people who are already members that have programs where if you take their programs, you can get CEs. So there are going to be opportunities to continue your education in other ways too. Perhaps down the road we'll do that, but right now with such a variety of career experience behind us, that's a little bit trickier for us at this point, but maybe in a couple of years we're going to go down that road. So yeah, it's just a very unique niche that we have.
Thanks. Phoenix, you got a something?
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in really quickly because I just recently went through the process of AASECT certification and am involved with AASECT. You mentioned, Gina, that you're an educator. AASECT is primarily a therapist body. And if you want to work with therapists, yes, it's appropriate to look into involvement with AASECT. But if you don't work with therapists and you're focused on educating, I would not recommend going the AASECT route. I can talk to you more about that online. Oh yeah, Kara, I just turned mine in too. They're back in the office yesterday, so hopefully soon. Anyway, so that's what I have to say about AASECT. I will also say that they do allow for, under special circumstances, CE offerings that you can apply for. So if you have a colleague who is an AASECT approved CE provider, they can supervise you for an approved CE class, and that way you can offer classes for CEs that you wouldn't ordinarily be able to. And I'm in that process this year as well.
Great.
So just wanted to throw that in.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Tracy, Q, Gilbert, you are on.
All righty, greetings everyone. I'm Tracy Gilbert. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the founder of Tembi and Aya. I know lots of familiar faces here. Happy to see y'all. Tembi and Aya, which is a firm that looks at using facilitated conversation to achieve healing and wellness for African American populations, as well as racial justice and sex ed spaces. My specific question is kind of on the other side. So if this is an organization that's kind of like removing the barriers to entry, which I'm very familiar with. I am not AASECT certified, although I've been doing this work almost 10 years. Do you have any thoughts or any plans regarding how you will then monitor the influx of people who are looking for affiliation, but may not necessarily fulfill the values of C? So someone who says, yeah, I do comprehensive, yeah, I do this, but then when you actually see what they're doing, it's more along the lines of abstinence plus or, something else. So I just wanted to hear about that.
Yeah. We went around and around and around. How are we going to do this? Because not to be exclusive, but we're exclusive. So anybody who's applied knows there's a pretty comprehensive application process. And I was going to explain that. That's what I was going to talk about with the membership, and I'd forgotten. The application process is pretty extensive. We ask a lot of questions, and we want your website so we can go spy on you. So yeah, we are kind of making sure that the people align with our values. Might one sneak in once in a while, perhaps, but I don't think so. We're going to be pretty good about that. What else was I going to say about that? See, menopause, I'm telling you, brain fog, it happens all the time. But yeah, so we are going to be I know. The other reason for the extensive application is I do use that information to send you your mug, and also to plug in all that information where you have the business listing and all that. So once you apply and have that, it's kind of one and done. I'm using that information for something else. So it's getting done, but I don't share any information unless you specifically tell me to.
And they'll self-select, right? They'll see that we're not for them. I think, just the words progressive and comprehensive are red flags.
It's pretty clear.
Well, yeah. I mean, I asked just because of the idea of affiliation, right? Like we know that and I don't know about you all, but I know in my circles, I'm seeing a lot of people stepping up to say they want to do this work, and they have specific ideas of what they want to do, but they don't necessarily know about the channels that are already in place and kind of some of the, again, some of those value pieces that are in place, not even just around like something as simple as comprehensive, but social justice, racial justice, all of these topics. And so, you know, I'm just thinking about, as this body grows, will it be something that does go the way of an ASECT in terms of being an organization, or will it be something more of like a chamber of commerce where all of these businesses just happen to be networking with each other? So that's kind of my intention for asking that question, so I can be clear with my own self about why I might want to connect.
No, not a chamber of commerce. We're definitely going to be a learning community, because you mentioned too, I was thinking about this earlier today, that one of the first webinars I'd really like to have is the intersection between racial justice and reproductive justice. It's huge. It's a huge topic, but not everybody is well versed in that. I'm not, and I need to learn more. And those are the webinars that we're going to have. We're going to deep dive a little bit, learn a little bit more, because we have to make sure that our educators, if they want to align with the SEA, we want to make sure that our educators know what they're talking about, for the most part, you know, that they're educated and that they know where to get the information. So as a chamber of commerce, sure, because it's a business, we're trying to help you promote your business, of course, but we want you to be a community of learners as well. Does that answer your question?
I want to.
It does. Thank you very much.
I want to thank you so much for bringing all this up, Tracy. And I want to offer too that there's opportunities as all of this continues to be built. The cool thing is especially all of us that are here, we're starting at the very beginning of something versus, you know, some institution that's been around for a long time that has like some hard roots and makes it difficult to make change happen or to create something that's really transformative. And so what comes to mind for me is I'm thinking of the word committee, but not necessarily holding to that, but just the possibility that, you know, there being, you know, like subcommittees or, you know, ways that people who are in the membership can ensure that there's a voice in terms of the direction of the work, in terms of the direction of the education that's being offered and the membership. So
I'm noticing in the thank you, like that for me too, as a white chick, I need help with that. I haven't been that inclusive, and so I'm absolutely really looking forward to that. So I'm noticing there's still a lot of chat about ASECT in the chat. Yeah, I think that's a big, there's a conversation of somebody being willing to host an ASECT conversation. So again, that might be something we should consider just to offer to the community. But I love that like I found it too rigid and ugh. But that's just me, and I'm an educator. So anyway, other questions, concerns, you can throw stuff in the chat if you're feeling shy. Hey, Wendy Sellers, I can see you, go for it.
Hi, everybody. I'm really excited to be here. I'm Wendy Sellers, author of Puberty, The Wonder Years. My 30+ years of experience has really been working with school-based sex education. And I have a very strong commitment to partnering schools with parents and caregivers to make sure that kids have all of the support they need to be sexually healthy for life. And so I am a certified ASECT sex educator. I'm also an American School Health Association member and former board member. And the reason this group intrigues me is because I think it fills a need that neither of those two associations fills. And so while I love both of those groups, they each have their role. They do not cater to educators who want to teach about sex education as much as I would like. And specifically, this group intrigues me because there are so many great business people here. My background is in nursing and education and not in business. And so I'm really interested in sharing the mistakes I've made that nobody else should want to make and learning from the lessons that all of you have to offer. So that's why I think this is a really unique opportunity. So thank you.
So Phoenix has a couple questions about membership. Will this group be taking ethics positions? And do you have a strategy, Ray, SEO, brand problems that you have come up already with this organization? So we're working it out. And yes, we're sorting it out. We're a work in progress. This is, baby days, right? So, that's the other thing I think that's going to be really great. I think as we develop the organization is if we need you, like this needs to serve you. And so we're going to be flexible, I think. We want to make sure that your needs are getting met. We can't meet everyone's needs, but yeah, we'll be setting up like a code of conduct and some values. And, we're going to make mistakes, right? We're going to make mistakes. And so I'm a big fan of not being a dick when you give feedback. So that would be cool. But yeah, we're a work in progress. Definitely those things are on the table. Absolutely. Because we want to be supportive and helpful because yeah, there's crap that comes
Amy,
up,
could you
right?
speak a little to the brand question? Just the lens I'm asking that from is I have extremely limited financial resources. I'm investing in a lot to grow my business this year. I'm very excited about the concept of this organization. Seeing that there are already some like confusion with another organization that people don't feel good about, and having limited ability to list myself places and be involved places. I'm just wondering what the strategy is there.
Can you, I'm sorry, Phoenix, I feel like I missed something. What do you mean about the confusion? Are you speaking about something that's related to your business or something that's related to CETA?
No,
I'm sorry if I lost
to SEA. So many people many colleagues who I invited or reposted this about too, and also where in like SEU 69 or whatever other group it was being promoted in, there was a lot of commenting about problems with this organization. And then people coming in and saying, no, this is a new one, but clearly it's close enough to an existing organization that people don't like that they're assuming that this is it.
Can you real talk it for us? Like what I removed myself from that 69 group. So just which group are you talking about? Just because context, is this something Amy or Kim, do y'all know about this? Just
I didn't
maybe
see
just
it
be out of the loop.
part of the 69ers, and I didn't see the comments.
Let me try and pull up an email, a concerned email I got from a colleague about
Thank you so much, Phoenix. And I'm sorry, I'm just one of those people, like I cannot be a part of an organization if we're not able to like just talk for real. And so I just like, wait a second, wait, what? And I don't want to be like, and I hope that like I don't want people to feel like, oh, we have to tiptoe around things, whatever, because I'm out if that's the case. That So yeah, just and it's not to get down the rabbit hole here, but just I feel like we're not able to participate in maybe what you're asking because we don't know all the information.
And I'm really glad you brought it up because we don't know what we don't know. And it's important. We have to make sure we get that figured out. And the Sexual Health Alliance, no, we're not affiliated with them, and I'm going to Google them.
Oh my gosh, y'all!
Don't.
We're not them. Don't even. I'm over here in Austin, Texas, and so the Southwest, the founder. So yes, just saying.
Okay,
there's real.
Wait, with what? With the
Sexual
Health Alliance? I'm sorry, with what?
So we were talking about the Sexual Health Alliance. So is that Phoenix? Is that what people?
So I'm not finding that email right now, but I'll go back and do a look through and send you something. But essentially, being in a like high collaborative sharing of marketing networking opportunities mode, I sent the information for this to several colleagues that I know are also looking to grow their business in this year, and I got multiple responses back about concerns about your organization, which were clearly not about your organization. And when that started happening, I said, do I want to spend limited resources to list myself somewhere that people are like already have negative associations with? Just like, if I see on someone's classes offered, places offered that they're teaching at the Center for Sex Addiction, I probably don't want to collaborate with that person.
Right. Yeah.
So just curious about that.
Okay, so I think that I feel like the neurons it's clicking for me now. I think that they are probably talking about SHA, the Sexual Health Alliance, and the fact that there's that one letter difference, but our minds and what we see. And so, yeah, as a person who was personally impacted and confronted the owner of that before over some issues, I would definitely probably feel like, no, and I'm glad that you're connected with people who are like, and who, you know, so yeah, that's, I think, something that maybe Kim, Amy, myself, like we can, now that I can catch y'all up to speed. And then Phoenix, if you happen to realize I'm wrong and it's a whole nother organization, like feel free to like email Kim, and that way, because this is important. It's important to know. So I really appreciate that you brought this up. And I think I know what you're talking about, and I can catch the two of you up to speed. And then again, these are hopefully some types of discussions that within that Facebook group, which I did take myself off of Facebook. So now I'm like, because you know, y'all, 2020. Right. But so, you know, but yeah, so creating the spaces where we can have these conversations and just, you know, again, honest talk, and you know, and hopefully in a way where people, we're going to have different perspectives, and we're going to have maybe different feelings or different values, different experiences. And so just like all other organizations, when you're bringing humans together, we're going to do our very best. We're going to learn as we keep going along the way, and feedback all around two-way is going to be so important in making this something different than what we may be seeing out there, or what we may have experienced and been harmed by with some other organizations. So thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Wendy, go for it.
Thank you. So I have a question. So I wear two hats right now. One, I work with an agency as a sexuality educator within the schools. And we provide comprehensive sex ed, but really the schools kind of funnel us into as much of an abstinence plus model as they can. And then my other hat is that on my own, I provide some services to queer adults. And so I'm looking for kind of mentorship in both of those roles. Like, how have people effectively gotten more pleasure positive, sex positive stuff into their schools without scaring people away? And how do you start trying to provide services to youth without the sort of name of an agency behind you? So I guess you didn't need all those specifics. I'm just asking, like, what kind of mentorship and more direct mentorship than just, you know, group webinars and things are you guys looking at?
That's excellent. I'm glad you brought that up. We don't have anything specifically in plans yet, but this is where already I'm watching this. I'm sitting back and I'm watching this and listening to all your comments and questions with this chat. And I'm in another business group that operates very much like this. And right away, connection. Who are you? Oh, Phoenix, happy to chat with you regarding queer adult. That's how we connect, and that's how we mentor. It's this personal contact. It's going to be our seaside chats that we have, where we're going to connect with one another and get to know each other and connect on a personal level, because we are all about community. So we don't have any specific programs. So I will say one thing I'm considering is we're actually opening this up to college students as well, coming up with some sort of a mentor program for interns for the younger set. But now that you're mentioning this, what a great idea to also incorporate the adults already in this space. Didn't even think about that. So that's what's so great about this group is we're young, we're open to ideas and suggestions and getting all these little groups together. But the seaside chats that we're going to have, which this is very much what it's going to be like. This is how you connect. This is how you find mentors, and this is how we get together. So I'm excited about that. Ladies, do you have anything to add to that?
Can I just add something in here? By the way, I'm Meg Robel. I'm the Director of Partners in Sex Education. I see a lot of you folks I know here. And hey, and so I've been in youth sex ed for 20 years. Before that, I was in adult sex ed, and I made it took some effort to scrub my Google ability. And I would say in general, my experience has been the crossover. Now I know a lot of my colleagues are in adult education. Some people went from youth education to adult. There's been crossover because obviously the skill sets are very, very similar, you know what I mean? And some of the, you know what I mean, the values of sex education as healing are very similar. And yet, you know what I mean, you can get a lot of issues with crossing over. And so, you know, that's been some issues with my business where there, you know, there are folks who do both, and then, you know, their names get Googled, and then you have drama where you shouldn't have drama. So, and it seems like a lot of the groups similar to this one cater to the adult sex ed population. And so I guess my question is, because I have moved 100, and I love that there's folks doing adult sex ed. I don't do that. My business doesn't do that. We try to keep the lines very, very clear. And so I guess I'm wondering, because it seems like most of you are in youth sex ed, but I guess I'm wondering if there is going to be some crossover, because I guess my advice would be against that.
So I'm confused. So I'm just going to ask a clarifying question. So when you say crossover, I'm not quite sure what you mean. Do you mean?
So a lot of people, individuals, do both youth sex ed and adult sex ed.
Right.
Potentially, and then there are sometimes organizations and agencies that do both.
Oh, okay.
And
our focus is on parents, families, and young people. So just so you know, in terms of adults and sex ed, the sex ed that we might deliver to adults is focused on supporting youth. So that is a hard distinction that this organization is making. Now, for example, I think Wendy Burrows, had mentioned that your work you may do work in both realms, with adults and with young people. But just know, and Kim, feel free to jump in if I'm wrong, but that this organization will be for that hat that you're wearing when you're doing the youth sex ed. Not to say that you won't gain skills or can bring insights from business that you're doing, that work is your business with adults, but that is that hard distinction that we're making that does make us different than these other organizations. Is we're not, like, it's not going to be like, it's not going to move into like kink and BDSM for adult type stuff, education. There are already lots of resources for that. There are lots of organizations that can already provide that kind of continuing education and support business-wise. That's our distinction. Does that get to your question?
That's great. That was exactly my question. And then while I still have the floor, I do want to. And I think there's already been some reference to it, but you know what I mean? The fact that sometimes our field can get heavily dominated by white women and white non-binary people, but like what, and I know this is a priority for many of you in your work, but like what can we do to make sure that there is more voices here?
Well, I will say, so I don't fall into those categories. I identify as a non-binary person, and I am not white. And so I am as an individual in the developing of this. I have had conversations with both Kim and Amy about this very piece, and let them know ahead of time that we better come correct, And so that is, but knowing that, real talk, like, Kim and Amy are white, right? And you're going to come with your experiences, and that can have limitations. And I'm going to have my own experiences that will have limitations. And so the hope is that we can pull together a diverse membership, and that brings in ideas. Like, there's just no way that 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or 5 people are going to be able to represent all of the voices. And so the best that we can do is bring in a diversity of voices and create an intentional, create an intentional space where voices can be brave, can be heard, can step up, the mic can be passed, those leadership opportunities can happen, and that it isn't just being driven, by the same white women thing that is prevalent in this field and many other fields. So the hope is that others will join, and we will work together to create these opportunities and to speak up when something, isn't right or isn't fitting, instead of going silent.
Yeah, we want it to be an honest space where you can share your concerns respectfully, and share ideas, and so that we can learn and grow from it. This cannot be a white woman space, because that's just not what we're after. We're about inclusivity. So I'm really glad you asked that. That is absolutely, Melissa brought this up in a conversation we had last week, and we really hit it hard, and like, yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
Salim is wondering how big we're gonna get. Massive, tiny?
I don't know. I don't know. I thought maybe 50 people would join overall when I first started this. I think we're gonna get, I feel like there are a lot of people in this space that really want a place to go like this. It's just not existing out there. It's gonna, it's a new organization. It takes word of mouth. It takes time to build up, but we are a very unique niche when it comes to a professional organization. And we're a community, we're gonna have fun with it, but we're also gonna learn, and we're gonna grow our business. So I expect it's gonna get pretty big in the next year.
But what I do see that Salim is bringing up is a really, really great point, is around the intimacy and the sense of safety. And someone else, I think, I saw earlier, someone bringing up the reality that, yeah, there are a lot of folks out here that see what we are doing. We're meaning sexuality professionals. They see what we're doing as like, ooh, this is a really fun career, a really fun thing. And there are people that are working in the field that don't have the experience or the training or the background, and aren't putting in the work to do that, and are seeing it just as like a financial opportunity. And many of us, or all of us, like that are in the work, that are doing the work. There are things that brought us to this work that connect us from a very place of passion and purpose. And so again, that's part of what we as an organization will be tasked at doing continually, is just making sure that the space does stay intimate enough and safe enough, and that it's not just, just letting anyone in who really doesn't align, and whose work really isn't doing the work, So that is going to be a challenge, like, not going to lie. And that's what we're here for. We came together because we feel that it's worth taking this risk of starting something new to hopefully get that return of the sense of community, and not having to figure out so much on your own. Like, how many of us may have a website, and we weren't web designers, we weren't web developers, but we didn't have a whole bunch of money to pay someone else to do it. And so we freaking learned WordPress, or what is the other ones? You Google, you YouTube, and trying to do all of that on your own, or trying to hope that someone shares something with you, but then it's like, ooh, do I have money to pay all these people? This is a space, hopefully, where we can create that sense of shared knowledge and shared learning. And the niche piece is that, because we're passionate about serving youth and families as it relates to sexuality education, that is what makes us unique. So we hope that we draw in those people. And if that's 12 people, we're here for it. If that ends up being 50 people, we're here for it. If it's 100 and 200 and 1,000, then we are called to task with making sure all of those people truly belong, and that they're actually providing value and creating that the attention to ethics for this.
Everything you said is perfect. We're growing, we're learning. I do see there are some comments about breaking out into pods. We're easy to do. Oh, definitely can do that. So a lot of great ideas. Melissa, everything you just said is a great way to end our time together, because it's in Illinois, it's 2:07, and I do want to respect everybody's time. So we have been recording this. So we are going to send everybody, as soon as we get it up and running on YouTube, we'll send you a link where you can access it to learn more if you need to review anything. There is an opportunity to ask, over on my side over here, an opportunity to ask any questions. You can throw some in there. We're going to answer questions. I will send an email out with the answers if there is something here that wasn't addressed, and I'll make sure we do that. If you want to stick around, we'll stick around about 10 more minutes for questions and answers, but if you need to get away, this is your great excuse. You can go ahead and get off, no judgment. And the rest of you can stay on for 10 more minutes for a few more questions, and then we're gonna let it go. And some people are thanking us. You're very welcome. Thank you for coming. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for asking such wonderful, insightful questions. It gives us a lot to think about.
Yes, yes. It's so nice to have more brains, right? Like in business in particular, like I've learned over the past however many years that when I'm operating in a silo, I don't do as well because we do better when we have other folks to talk to and sort things out and learn from. I mean, on the business side and on the, on the educator side. So yeah, the questions were super. So helpful. Is there anything else hanging over? Jennifer, I see ya. What's up?
Yeah. So I'm wondering if this group is right for me. I don't have any credentials next to my name. I'm an artist and a documentary filmmaker. And I started an interactive installation called the Graphic Sex Project. And I'm it was just an installation that I was taking around. It supports people thinking introspectively about their sex life, and then provides them a way to talk about their sexual values and preferences with a partner. And now I'm sort of focused on developing it into something that's beyond me taking it around to various places as an art installation, but more as a tool for individuals, for therapists, for counselors, for couples who just want to work on their communication skills. And I've also been taking it to some universities, and it's been a part of some university Sex Week activities. If you know the Sex Week at like Ohio State, at Amherst University, it's been there as an art installation about sexual communication. So one of the things I feel like has been kind of hanging me up is that I don't have any credentials next to my name. And so I'm kind of sort of trying to figure out where to go with this, how to develop it, what sort of path to focus on. And so that's kind of where I am. And I'm not sure if this is an organization of people who are credentialed that I'm not. And I guess one of the things that I'm kind of looking for is, like, I feel like if I had a partner who did have those kind of credentials, that would be helpful for like I'm developing this kit for therapists to use with their clients, which I've had some success with that. Like I've sold that to some therapists who are using it with clients as a way to help them work through their sexual values. And I think there's a market there, but it would really help if I had somebody who could sort of join with me on that. So that's one of the big things that I'm looking for, is a collaborator.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So I want to say, if I'm hearing you correctly, then my assessment from what you're saying is that maybe this isn't the group for you in terms of membership, because of if your focus is not specifically on youth and families. Is that correct, as far like your business model? But maybe you're seeking some collaborative partners, and it could take it into that direction, or people that are working in the field of sex ed. So I think that what you're bringing up is a good example of that. If you were to go through the application process, I think you would end up seeing kind of where we're looking for membership, so that we as folks that are serving youth and serving parents and serving families, and where our businesses are focused on that, are also in community with folks that are doing that as well, and business skills. So it's not as much of a marketing tool if you're not doing that work.
Yeah,
does that make sense? So I think this is great, and you've shared it, and then maybe someone that is here in this meeting, maybe there's a potential collaboration available there. But let me know if I'm missing anything as far as.
No, not really. I mean, I feel like right now I'm kind of going in 8 different directions with my project, trying to figure out where to go with it. And one of them is universities, is making it something that universities use in their Sex Week or their other sort of sexual health kind of events. But that's sort of like one strand out of 10.
Yeah.
And which is closest to what you're doing.
Can I weigh in here a little bit here? Because I'm familiar with your project. It's brilliant. I would say that from what I'm understanding, this is not the group for you. However, there are a lot of, I would actually say that most of the places that are trying to do business plans for people doing adult sex ed would be a lot closer to the group for you. And it does sound like, especially with your interest in therapeutic setting, that getting somebody with that kind of, those kind of letters. I mean, I don't know, I have 0 letters, and I also have 0 qualms about my expertise. So people can take all their letters. But
Like what organizations are you talking about? Maybe I should email you and ask.
Yes. Yeah, I'll put my email on the thing. But like, for instance, one of the Facebook group that people were talking about, like Sex Educator Union 69. I'm
in that. That's how I found out about this through
well,
Phoenix.
there you go.
Thank you.
I mean, there's a lot of people that are kind of doing that, and I don't know if I can do that off the top of my head, but I'm also interested in doing promotion with. I don't want to do college gigs anymore, but I do want to connect people with college gigs, like, because that's the thing, is I'm all youth, none of that. But I used to do that, and I think that there's a lot of room for that. So I want to continue this, but I don't know if this is.
Yeah, I'll email you.
Space for what you want.
Yeah, thank you.
And Jennifer, don't worry about letters after your name. Don't ever let that stop you. You're talented and gifted, and you know what you're doing. Go for it. People will honor and respect that.
And if they don't, they're not for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. You're not for everyone. Anybody else? Oh, hi, Barb.
Hi, I raised my hand.
I see that. I'm very impressed.
So as somebody who does have a lot of letters behind my name, but it's because I have to, otherwise I literally can't get paid because I have a separate job. So, but it doesn't mean that I know anything. Seriously, it just means that I spend money. So I just wanted to have just a little bit of clarification around this idea that it's focused on youth. And the reason is because many, if not most, of the people that I support and provide education for are adults, and they are adults who do not have, they aren't their own legal guardian. So I work with people who have really, really significant support and communication needs. So the work that we do and the education we provide is, I think, more in line with what is provided for youth than I think when you're describing adult sex and we're talking about being able to, have better sex with your partner. I mean, none of the people I work with have romantic partners and very possibly may never. So again, just kind of checking and making sure. I know that I'm usually, when I'm in the sex ed world, I'm usually one of maybe 2 people, maybe 3 people who have this, like, if you want to talk about niche, right? Like, we're down in this little tiny tunnel. And I'm always so happy to talk with people about kind of what we do and how to do things. But I just wanted to make sure that this is still, we're good, because I do so much work with families anyway. So.
Well, that's what I like. You've applied in your members. So that's what I liked about your application, is because of that aspect. I taught a few special ed classes for sex ed too, and you're right. They may be adult in age, but they aren't necessarily in mentality, and that's okay. We need educators like you out there.
Yeah, I agree. And I think they need to be better than me. I'm trying real hard, but that's part of what excites me about this is that, the resources that I can get as far as like being able to have a curriculum or something, it's almost impossible to find something that's comprehensive and sex positive. Like it virtually, especially for the people that I support who aren't able to read or write without a lot of help. It literally doesn't exist. And all we have is, here's how you avoid getting arrested and avoid becoming assaulted. Like it's very like, it's no good. So we're working on that too. So.
Barb, I'll just jump in really quick. We haven't met, but I'm loving me some BCBAs, and I've got a couple.
That's good because we're not always super popular.
No, you're not. And I've got a couple of amazing folks that I'm sure you would value and appreciate as well, who are kick-ass sexuality educators or burgeoning educators. So I want you to know you're not alone in the field, and I'm holding it down as best I can as well, with folks who, to your point, just don't meet professionals who can work with them where they are, and especially in a positive, sex positive, and sex can be in quotes way. So I just wanted to say, hey, and I felt you on that.
Yeah. And your name looked familiar. I was like, wait a minute. So.
And Rochelle, what do you do? Sorry, do you need more, Barb? I apologize.
I'll take more, but we can always talk offline too. And I think that's the beauty about this. I'm assuming that sort of once this all wraps up, there's going to be some sort of, you said the Facebook group and all that. So we can do more of that offline. So
yeah, cool.
Love it.
I've been doing sexuality ed and folks with intellectual developmental disabilities, autism, traumatic brain injury as a major focus of my sex ed, I don't know, mosaic pattern quilt for 28 out of the 29 years. And currently, BCBAs are hard because oftentimes the training is counterintuitive to sexuality education approach. And so I'm really valuing my time with these BCBAs in particular, but also a lot of work with self-advocates, in particular Oklahoma, and work with self-advocates, and I are co-authoring a curriculum that they'll be training, not only peers, but folks who work with folks who provide services too. So that's one part of what I do that pertains to the conversation we were just having.
I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's do one more. From someone who hasn't had a question yet.
Well, I just filled out the application, and one of the things I asked you to consider, and whether I'm a part of this group or not, and I'm hoping you pick me, but if I'm not, I really would love an ethics statement. I would love the group to have a solid ethics clause, or informed approach. And I know that will not be easy to write, but I think that's really important to separate. I'll just be biblical, the wheat from the chaff, which is very important for me to separate. So.
Good. Yeah. We actually talked about this at our meeting last week too, that we need to suss out our values piece, and we'll absolutely. That's
love it.
Thank you.
All right. All right.
You guys, thank you. Yeah, we're going to let you go now so you can get back to work. And I know I've got somebody from England here, Leah. You're probably ready for bed. I don't know what time it is there.
Hi, Leah.
Hi. No, I think this is so fabulous. I'm so excited about it. And I didn't say this earlier, but I'm basically somebody who showcases sex educators, and I'm always looking for content for my newsletter and the website stuff. So I'm just thrilled to be part of this, even if I'm not an educator myself, but I'm definitely, here to fuel everybody else, and so excited about this.
Sex Ed is like the best newsletter, y'all.
Thank
Y'all
you.
aren't already following. So
Yeah.
What is it?
Melissa, thank you. That's
I'm
great.
just saying, it's
We
really
put it in
good.
the chat. Leah.
Yeah, okay, I'll put that in. Yeah, are you going to be able to circulate something? Yeah, well, anyway, I'll speak to you about it afterwards, and maybe it'll be good to, that we could, not just in the Facebook, but just some other form of, because I'm also not very Facebook literate, but I better get it back into it again. But
yeah, well, and we have other ways to communicate as well. I know the Facebook thing, hey, open to ideas. If anybody has any better way to communicate, please let me know. I thought about doing something on the website, but that's a little bit difficult. And I decided Facebook was ultimately probably the most convenient way for most people. So that's how that kind of ended up. But I'm open to ideas. It's all about community. It's not about us. It's about you. So whatever works for the community is what we want to do.
Cool.
So thank you so much for starting this. You're amazing. And this is so needed right now. And I love it.
Yeah,
we all need this.
Go Kim.
Y'all so much. Good to see y'all.
Thanks for coming.
See ya.
thank you.
Bye, Leah.
Bye. Bye, Phoenix. Thank you
Take
so
care.
much.
Take care.
Bye-bye. See you again soon.
Yes, we'll see you soon.
Yay. Bye.
Leah and I are